In order to compete for the dominance of the 5G market from Huawei, the United States used the basic technological advantages of its local companies to impose restrictions. However, Google, which controls the Android system, was unreasonable and cut off the GMS service for Huawei smartphones, causing Huawei to lose a lot of money of overseas users. The purpose of Lao America and Google is very clear, which is to make Huawei retreat and compromise. Welcome to subscribe to Silicon Dragon. We are a YouTube channel focusing on chip technology. We will bring you the latest technology information on the technology war between China and the United States. However, I never expected that at this critical moment, Huawei would undergo continuous technical improvements and upgrade tests, and Harmony OS would grow rapidly under the guidance of everyone. Now it has become the third largest mobile operating software system in the world, comparable to Apple iOS and Google Android. There is a tendency to fight against etiquette in separate courts. The Harmony OS system is of extraordinary significance to us. It is a 100% Chinese mobile operating system that completely bypasses overseas technology. In addition, it breaks Google Android's decades-long dominance of my country's software system market. In the future, domestic consumers may be able to proudly say that we use a Chinese system. More importantly, with Harmony OS, we no longer need to worry about the operating system being stuck by the United States in the future, but it will not lose to Google Android in terms of fluency and operability. Moreover, the microkernel and distributed design of the Harmony OS system are customized for the digital era of the Internet of Everything, and the starting point is much higher than Android. To be honest, the only place where the Harmony OS system is not as good as Android is probably the ecosystem. After all, the latter has been deeply cultivated for many years, while Harmony OS has just been released not long ago and is not mature enough. However, this is only a matter of time, not a technical shortcoming. In order to accelerate the ecological construction of Harmony OS, Huawei has invested billions in the past 2 years to support developers and invited hundreds of well-known mainstream brands at home and abroad to settle in, such as JD.com, Tencent, DJI, MyDear, UnionPay, Do Maps, etc. With more than 100 million connected devices, at this stage, all aspects of Harmony OS have been improved. After 2 years of preparation, Huawei finally ushered in this historic moment. It has to be said that the rise of Harmony OS system has been full of hardships. Building an ecosystem is difficult enough. It is also described as a reskin system of Android by some people in China who think they know the system well. It is really embarrassing. Fortunately, Huawei has survived all this. However, as soon as the internal worries were resolved, external troubles came. Seeing the rise of Huawei's Harmony OS system, perhaps the one who feels the most uncomfortable is Google. Huawei was one of its largest customers, but now it has been forced to become a rival by Google, and it is also a very powerful and potential rival. So it began to attack Huawei Harmony OS from the side. Google has launched a campaign to remove Huawei phones from its Android 12 system adaptation list. According to public information, Google's Android 12 system has pushed update notifications to domestic mobile phone manufacturers, but Huawei has not received any news. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Google is doing this to isolate Huawei's Harmony OS. You know, the most important thing about a software system is its ecological construction. Strong companies like Samsung and Microsoft have both technology and strength, but they have failed ecologically. If the current Harmony OS is disrupted by Google and does not receive the support of its friends, in the long run, there may be problems with the ecological construction, and the consequences will be disastrous. Google's action marks that the decisive battle over the future fate of the Harmony OS system has officially begun. If Harmony OS wins, the future will be smooth. If it loses, no, it will not lose at all. The key to the problem is whether Harmony OS has enough appeal and advantages to win the support of domestic friends and smartphone users. The answer is obvious. Chinese users fully support it. Harmony OS is an open-source system. As long as mobile phone manufacturers are willing to use it, Huawei can let you use it for free and let everyone develop together. In addition to the advantages of distributed design, the Harmony OS system is also 100% compatible with Android. That is to say, as long as you can use Android, you can also use Harmony OS. There is no need to re-adapt or learn the new system, and it is easy to accept. More importantly, the Harmony OS system learns from its strong points and offsets, its weaknesses, and can be quickly adapted at one time. Unlike the Android system, non-first release mobile phone manufacturers need to write a lot of code themselves, which is time-consuming, expensive and labor-intensive before it can be used normally. For major mobile phone manufacturers, even though they are very dissatisfied with Google Android, they had no other choice but to endure it silently. Well now, with Harmony OS as a better choice, I will no longer just blindly stick to Google Android. Due to the closed nature of the iOS system, most mobile phone manufacturers choose the Android system. The reason why manufacturers chose Android in the early days was not because it was easy to use, but because there was no other available option. Nowadays, our country has the open-source Harmony OS system, which other manufacturers do not use. The reason is its ecology. It is not difficult to develop an operating system. What is difficult is the system ecosystem, which is the moat of the operating system. When Google stopped supplying Android authorization to Huawei, Huawei's Harmony OS system became official overnight. With the continuous improvement of the system, Harmony OS has now reached version 4.0. However, since the operating logic of the Harmony OS system is similar to Android, and the application ecosystem is compatible with Android, there has been a rumor in the industry since the release of Harmony OS, a voice that covers Android. In fact, Huawei and industry insiders have already popularized the issue of cases. The main suspected disaster area is that both Harmony OS and Android use AOSP and are compatible with Android applications. AOSP is an open-source project maintained globally. Huawei ranks among the top 3 in code contributions to the project, so Harmony OS does not cover Android. The fundamental reason why it is compatible with Android is market competition. Previously, Windows Phone did not succeed because of the lack of ecology. The same is true for Office software WPS. If it is not compatible with Office, I am afraid it will have closed down long ago. This cannot be a crime for the company, however, precisely because of the issue of compatibility with Android. Harmony OS also has some shortcomings that cannot be ignored. For example, compared with Android, the difference in user experience is not obvious, and compatibility with Android cannot truly take advantage of the Harmony OS system. Not only that, because the security of Android applications on the market is uneven, and users' privacy can be read arbitrarily. The openness of being compatible with Android will inevitably cause risks such as privacy leaks to users. Therefore, for Huawei, the Harmony OS system must establish its own independent ecological environment and system as soon as possible. Recently, heavyweight news has come out in the industry. It is reported that Huawei executives have decided to fully shift road investment to a single-frame pure Harmony OS system. Starting from Harmony OS 5.0, it will not be available on dual-frame systems and new features. This means that Huawei has to say goodbye to Android completely. Harmony OS 4.0 will also become the last version compatible with Android. Different people have different opinions on giving up compatibility with Android. Some people think that Android should not be given up. If manufacturers do not develop Harmony OS native apps, Harmony OS is likely to follow in the footsteps of Microsoft WP and find it difficult to become an independent operating system. Maintaining ecological prosperity is the top priority for the success of an operating system. Many people also believe that Harmony OS should give up its compatibility with Android. First of all, compared with Android and iOS, The compatibility issues of Harmony OS system do have some inconsistencies. For example, opening some apps is slow, or the effect is not good. Some developers even deliberately make negative optimizations to Harmony OS to hinder Harmony OS development of OS systems. If Harmony OS takes the vertically closed route like iOS, not only can third-party apps be reviewed for security, performance, etc., but the native apps of Harmony OS will also be simpler, the startup speed is faster and the user experience is closer to iOS. Secondly, laziness is human nature. If Harmony OS has always been compatible with Android, most manufacturers will not take the initiative to develop Harmony OS native apps. Instead, they will let the Harmony OS system be better compatible with Android applications. This will lead to Harmony OS paying attention to one thing and not the other, unable to provide comprehensive care for an operating system, whether it is Android or iOS. It is a system adapted by developers. Only when everyone adds firewood can the flames grow. Otherwise, for Huawei, the human and financial costs will be too high, and the return rate will be small, which will be extremely detrimental to the growth of China's operating system. In addition, 5G is the era of the Internet of Things, and Harmony OS itself is born to connect everything. Previously, the father of Harmony OS left Huawei and joined Shenzhen Caihong. His purpose was to promote the rapid prosperity of the Harmony OS ecosystem and take root in China for the true Internet of Everything. Only when Harmony OS gives up compatibility with Android can Harmony OS play its role in the Internet of Things era of true value. In this regard, many foreign media said, the United States is lagging behind. The United States relies on its technological advantages in the Internet era to cut off supply to Huawei. However, Huawei not only wants to build Harmony OS into the Chinese version of iOS, but also crushes American technology in the 5G Internet of Things era, according to reports. Huawei mobile phones cannot support 5G networks because they cannot use the self-developed Kirin 9000 5G chip. Previously, changes in chip rules prevented TSMC from shipping freely, so Huawei Kirin 9000 and other chips were temporarily unable to be manufactured. This has brought certain challenges to Huawei's mobile phone business and global supply chain. Huawei's mobile phone business has always been one of its main businesses, but due to limitations in chip supply, Huawei is unable to launch new mobile phones that support 5G networks. This is a huge challenge for Huawei, because 5G technology is regarded as an important development direction in the future communications field. TSMC has invested $40 billion in building a factory in the United States, and plans to start producing 4nm chips in 2024 and 3nm chips in 2026. However, due to changes in chip rules, TSMC is unable to ship freely, resulting in Huawei being unable to obtain the chips it needs in time to support 5G networks. Faced with limitations in chip supply, Huawei began to develop comprehensively in the chip and semiconductor fields. Huawei realizes the importance of independent research and development and production of chips, so it has increased investment in chip manufacturing, new materials and terminal manufacturing. Huawei invests in the domestic chip industry chain through Huawei, hoping to achieve independent research and development and production of chips. In this way, Huawei can get rid of its dependence on chip supply and enhance its position in the global chip industry chain. Not only is Huawei subject to chip supply constraints, TSMC is also seeking licenses, but is also facing shipment restrictions. According to reports, the tripartite agreement has been implemented, and both Japan and the Netherlands have announced restrictive policies, restricting the shipment of 23 types of semiconductor equipment. Japan's restrictive policy took effect in mid-July, and the Dutch restrictive policy officially came into effect on September 1. These restrictive policies are undoubtedly a huge impact on TSMC because it limits TSMC's ability to ship high-performance chips. The United States has also imposed restrictions on domestic manufacturers such as Huawei. The United States has proposed conditions for lifting the ban and requires Chinese manufacturers to develop advanced technologies, but they can only be used to improve local people's livelihood and economy and cannot serve the international market. Against this background, domestic manufacturers such as Huawei have chosen to develop self-developed technologies to replace US dollar devices and continue to ship to overseas markets through continuous breakthroughs and innovations. This independent development model is both a challenge and an opportunity for domestic manufacturers such as Huawei. Despite various restrictions, Huawei has achieved breakthroughs in chip semiconductors. Huawei has realized the Chinesization of components and circuit boards, reducing the proportion of US dollar components. In addition, SMIC, a subsidiary of Huawei, has also made certain breakthroughs and implemented the application of Kirin 710A chip. Huawei has achieved the Chinesization of more than 13,000 components and 4,000 circuit boards, greatly reducing the proportion of US dollar components in 5G equipment. SMIC has mastered the N1 process and completed the 7 nanometers research and development tasks. In the future, China will realize the full non-US 7 nanometers process, which will lay a solid foundation for the development of domestic manufacturers such as Huawei. Despite facing many difficulties, Huawei persisted and invested more than 440 billion yuan in research and development. Huawei is not affected by revenue and profits and is committed to comprehensive breakthroughs. Huawei's breakthrough in the field of chip semiconductors is a long-term and arduous task that requires continued investment and efforts. Huawei adheres to independent innovation and constantly pursues technological breakthroughs, which will lay a solid foundation for its future development. Breakthroughs by domestic manufacturers such as Huawei have made TSMC feel threatened and may change the pattern of the global chip supply chain. However, both Huawei and TSMC are facing various challenges and pressures. Huawei needs to overcome chip supply constraints and increase investment in chip road and manufacturing, while TSMC needs to cope with competitive pressure from domestic manufacturers such as Huawei and seek new development opportunities. It has become clear that Huawei cannot support 5G networks. This is because Huawei cannot use its self-developed Kirin 9000 5G chip. However, faced with this situation, Huawei did not give up. Instead, it fully entered the semiconductor field and continued to invest in chip manufacturing, new materials, and terminal manufacturing. At the same time, Huawei's breakthrough also poses a threat to manufacturers such as TSMC. Despite facing many difficulties, Huawei persists in its struggle, continues to invest in research and development, and is committed to achieving comprehensive breakthroughs. However, both Huawei and TSMC need to face challenges and pressures and seek new development opportunities. The future of the semiconductor industry is still full of variables. Is 5G necessary? Obviously Wi-Fi or 4G can achieve this. In response to this, the official public account of the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology recently responded with an article saying that 5G is not just about fast network speeds. With the development of a series of applications, both academia and industry have seen the powerful benefits of 5G to society. Able, in the process of my country's social and economic development, 5G is a digital infrastructure. Its role is to connect every data island, centralize data scattered in various places, and then efficiently transmit it to all parties. This is the charm of 5G. We all know that Huawei's chip business has been hampered by the US blockade, but there is good news recently. Huawei's 5G chips may be coming back soon. The years of being blocked by the United States have indeed had a great impact on Huawei, but it has also accelerated the development of my country's semiconductor industry. Before this, our country's semiconductor technology had always been relatively weak, so the sudden blockade caught us off guard. However, at this time, our government and enterprises have also attached great importance to promoting independent innovation, and have achieved considerable results in just a few years. For example, our country's Kunpeng chip, Shengting chip, etc., were all affected by this blockade, the product of forging ahead. These all reflect the unyielding spirit of the Chinese people. On the surface, Huawei's chip business has been stated for many years. In the global mobile phone APRI processor market shipment ranking given by Counterpoint, Huawei has returned to zero starting from the second quarter of 2022. But in fact, Huawei has never stopped self-researching chips. It has announced chip patents one after another, involving chip stacking, superconducting quantum chips, semiconductor packaging, etc. It has also conquered the 14 nanometers process technology for EDA software, and achieved 14 nanometers and above. China is independent and controllable. So according to the American media, what have we blocked? The 5G era has not yet been fully covered, but Huawei has already begun to lay out the next generation mobile communication technology 5G, at the Shanghai Mobile World Congress held on June 28, 2023, Huawei Vice Chairman, Rotating Chairman, and CFO Meng Wanzhou announced he gave a keynote speech on embracing the 5G revolution, introduced the latest progress of 5G applications in various industries, and looked forward to the development direction and business opportunities of 5G. Meng Wanzhou said that global 5G commercialization has continued to lead value creation in the past 4 years, and 5G is the inevitable path, facing the future. As technology moves toward complex large systems, it is necessary to match key technologies and implement system engineering based on scenario characteristics to continue building 5G's commercial success. Meng Wanzhou also revealed that Huawei will release 5G commercial products next year and work with partners to promote industrial development. This is the first time Huawei has publicly announced its 5G commercial plan, and it also demonstrates Huawei's technical strength and innovation capabilities in the field of mobile communications. So, what is 5G? What are its features and advantages? What new experiences and opportunities will it bring us? According to Huawei's definition, 5G is the inevitable path for 5G network evolution. The 5G network has the network characteristics of downlink 10 Gbps, and uplink gigabit and 100G connections with endogenous intelligence, from 5G to 5. The iteration of 5G will better match scenarios such as the Internet of People, the Internet of Things, perception, and high-end manufacturing, incubate more business opportunities. Human connection refers to the communication and interaction between people, such as naked eye 3D, virtual live broadcast, cloud phone and other applications, which can bring immersive experience. The Internet of Things refers to the connection and collaboration between things, such as unmanned driving, drones, industrial robots and other applications, can improve production efficiency and safety. Perception refers to the perception and understanding of the environment and objects. Applications such as smart medical care, smart agriculture, and smart education can improve the quality of life and social welfare. High-end manufacturing refers to the requirements for high precision and high reliability, such as aerospace, military defense, new energy and other applications that can promote technological progress and national development, which is of great significance to the growing Internet of Things and smart devices. In addition, 5G technology will further expand network coverage. 5G networks can already provide coverage in most cities and densely populated areas, but coverage in some remote areas and high-altitude areas is still incomplete. 5G technology will achieve wider coverage and provide users with stable signal quality by further improving antenna and signal processing technology. Finally, 5G technology will also provide better network reliability. The 5G network has already achieved high reliability, but 5G technology will further improve the robustness of the network and improve the stability and anti-interference capabilities of the network to cope with complex and ever-changing network environments. Although the commercialization of 5G technology will still face some technical and market challenges, Huawei, as the world's leading communications equipment supplier, has strong technical strength and rich market experience, and is confident in overcoming these challenges. Huawei has been committed to promoting the development of 5G technology, and has established a good reputation around the world for its leading technology level through end-to-end 5G commercial products. Huawei will make an important contribution to the commercialization of 5G technology with its strong technical strength. In short, Huawei's release of end-to-end 5G commercial products will bring huge changes to the entire industry. The commercialization of 5G technology will promote the continuous development of mobile communication technology, drive the prosperity of related industries, and provide more business opportunities for enterprises. 5. As the world's leading communication equipment supplier, we can expect that driven by Huawei, 5G technology will bring more convenience and surprises to our lives. Recently, the Prime Minister of Japan will visit the United States, becoming the first national leader to visit the United States since the new U.S. president took office. His hospitality is evident. Many media have previously stated the purpose of the visit in advance. In addition to discussing China affairs with the Japanese Prime Minister and the U.S. President, the Japanese government will seek cooperation with the U.S. semiconductor industry. The two countries plan to reach a cooperation agreement during Yoshihide Suga's visit to the United States. Obviously, this is again to make a fuss about China taking advantage of the global chip shortage. The United States even plans to invite South Korea to join this so-called semiconductor alliance to jointly encircle China's semiconductor industry. Recently, the United States has made new moves. According to the White House, on April the 12th, two senior advisors to the president in charge of national security and economy will hold an online summit to invite CEOs from 20 companies around the world to discuss the semiconductor shortage issue, in addition to the American technology giants Google, Intel, Dell, etc., as well as the Korean company Samsung. The invited companies also included TSMC. It seems that in addition to wooing Japan and South Korea, the United States is also planning to attack Taiwan. This is another Hongmen banquet. The United States has been eyeing the semiconductor industry from early on. On February the 23rd, U.S. Senator and Majority Leader Shimo instructed lawmakers to formulate a series of chip bills to prevent the rise of China, and even rely on being tough on China to strengthen the U.S. technology industry. Shimo said at the time that semiconductors are American a weak link. If the U.S. semiconductor supply chain cannot be protected, the U.S. will lose opportunities in fields such as artificial intelligence, 5G, and quantum computers. When the chip crisis just broke out some time ago, the U.S. auto industry suffered a heavy blow, which made many Americans suddenly realize. Many people only know that the U.S. chip industry is very powerful. U.S. semiconductor companies account for 47% of global chip sales. But in fact, the U.S. chip production capacity is not strong. The company that provides the most chips to the United States is not in the United States, but in Taiwan province of China, of TSMC. The current chip production in the United States is similar to that in China, only 12%. As the world's largest wafer foundry, TSMC's production capacity accounts for 56% of the global market share. Some American experts have previously warned that the United States should not be overly dependent on TSMC, otherwise, once the two sides of the Taiwan Strait are unified, the United States will lose its technological advantage in semiconductors, and chip technology will change from being 2 generations ahead of China to being 2 generations behind China. the entire situation will be reversed in an instant. Although the vision of American experts has not yet been realized, the importance of the chip industry can be seen from their preparedness. However, the United States is not without its advantages. On the contrary, it has great advantages. Unlike China, American semiconductor companies firmly hold core technologies in their hands and control the say in the field of chip design. In order to restrict the flow of semiconductor technology into China, the United States has repeatedly pursued and blocked Chinese companies in an attempt to strangle China's chip industry in the cradle. The United States, which sees insufficient production capacity, is also sparing no effort to increase capital investment, which shows its determination to create advantageous industries. Although China's production capacity is also constantly increasing, because the United States is at the absolute upper reaches of the industrial chain, a lot of money goes into the pockets of Americans. Now, China has obviously understood the importance of chip independence, and is also increasing investment to overcome technical barriers and get rid of US control. However, some experts believe that the semiconductor industry is different from other industries and is of strategic significance to national security and development. At the same time, it cannot only rely on large amounts of capital investment. Top experts and talent teams are also very important, which is also blocked by the United States' main entry point. At present, Japanese and American semiconductor companies have joined forces, and South Korea's vacillation has also made the U.S. government turn its attention to Taiwan. The U.S. government hopes to use this to put pressure on major semiconductor companies. On the one hand, it is to accelerate the investment of global semiconductor companies in the United States and strengthen the industrial foundation of the United States. The second step is to communicate with major companies in the hope of strengthening control over China's chip industry. However, although the United States is coming aggressively this time, it is very difficult to attack China's chip industry, because China is currently the largest market. If it wants to attack China's chip industry, it will inevitably affect their survival in the Chinese market, especially the Chinese market. It can be said to be the lifeline of many Korean companies. Therefore, the attitude towards winning the United States is ambiguous. How to choose and whether to join in the same trend with the United States is a test of corporate wisdom. With the continuous development of scientific and technological progress, the semiconductor industry has become a popular field with extremely high strategic value both internationally and domestically. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope the information we have provided will be helpful to you. If you have cutting-edge information you would like to know, please leave us a message.